Blog Talk Radio.
Yes, hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Underground Railroad Radio with your host, Rich. Today's special guest, he's becoming a familiar guest, Brother Panic. Any of you out there that have heard of Brother Panic knows he deals with some serious spirituality. None of the nonsense, straight spirituality. Today's show is going to deal with communicating with the spirit realm. In particular, Panic received a certain spiritual transmission from the late, the great MJ, Michael Jackson. So we're going to be dealing with that. I got some questions from some people all over New York that when they heard Panic was going to be on the radio, you know, they started immediately giving me questions. So got a lot of questions to ask the brother. And it's going to be a great show today. Call-in number 646-727-2039. The website, if you missed the show, is www.undergroundrailroadnet.com. You can go there, you can get the show, you can get the DVDs that deal with all the topics we talk about. Everything you need to get is on the website. If you have gone to the website recently and noticed that you get a warning up, been having a few technical problems in Google, they issue some warning telling you to beware this site, blah 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 blah. Basically, I just got to take some things off the site, so everything's good with the site. Everything's fine, but we're going to be up and running normal, hopefully in a few days. So with that being said, let's get Brother Panic on this phone. Brother Panic, are you there?
Yeah, you can hear me, bro?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's going on, Rich? How you been, man?
Hey, everything's good, brother. Good to have you on the show once again. Like I said, you're becoming a familiar guest on this show. We try to deal with some real spirituality issues, and you seem to be the man to bring that.
Cool,
so,
cool. I like being here. I like being here.
Yeah, the topic of today's show is communicating with the spirit world, in particular Michael Jackson. Now, when we deal with this issue, it's something, I wouldn't say it's something new, but it's not talked about extensively as far as like how you talk about it or how Bobby Hemmett deals with it. You know, as far as people just straight up saying, well, yeah, I talked to Marvin Gaye yesterday. Niggas be like, what did he just say? He talked to Marvin Gaye yesterday? Like, you know, they look at y'all like, you know, because we're not used to hearing that. There's not many people talking like that. So this is something fairly new to even, you know, the conscious community. People just don't hear the average person talking like that. So before we get into the whole Michael Jackson thing, when he came through, I just want to lead it up to that by just asking you a few questions as far as communicating with the spirit so people could understand what's going on. Or what do you mean when you say, oh, I talked to this person, or me and Michael was kicking it last night, and, you know, they might be totally lost because nobody's talking about this. So, first question I want to ask Brother Panic, and these ain't just my question. These are brothers and sisters on the street. As you know, I sell the DVDs, so brothers want to know, you know, how are you able to do this? So, of course, the first question, how are you able to communicate with those that made the transition?
Okay. I had this conversation in front of your table one day, if you remember. It was a whole conversation with the brother about the intellect. What we have been, Dr. Jill Polkram has taught this. She talked about the 7 circuits of the brain. That's a master teacher. And and she has a DVD on this. I'm sure you probably sell it, and anyone can contact you and get a copy of this. 7 circuits of the brain. Now, she talks about the first 3 circuits. So the first circuit of your brain is the reptilian brain. Second circuit is the bee brain. The third circuit of your brain is the bird brain. She said the white people have only the ability to get up to the third circuit of the brain. So first circuit, reptilian, that's the loner. That's the person who loves to do it alone. Second circuit are the people who like to congregate. So on one hand, you could say folks who like to go to church and their social groups. On the other hand, Crips and Bloods. So that would be the bee brain, not the hive mind, but the bee brain. Now, the third brain is the bird brain. This is the intellect. This is the intellectual person. The intellect is the intellectual person because white people cannot go beyond the intellect. They have made this the ceiling reality on the world. So the more intellect you think you have, the more you think you are absolutely the epitome, the one who wears the crown. So Einstein, based upon him being an intellectual or intellect, he becomes the smartest thing. The doctors get the most money. The lawyers get the most money based upon them being most intellectually sound. So she talks about the other four circuits of the brain, the next circuit being love. And then beyond that, all-knowing, all-seeing, all-connected, intuition, all of these things that we like to romanticize with, but when someone actually tells you they're doing it, it becomes hard. You know, the woman is emotion and the right brain is this, and we are so spiritual, and we got the pyramids, and my yacht is with me. But then when you say, well, okay, I talked to my yacht. How you do that, brother? You know what I mean? That type of thing. So all that simply happened was I understood, as the Kamites understood, that the intellect was such a small part of you that had to be satisfied. So you don't hear me getting on, well, peace, beloved brother, as I go forth and come without, that unfolds, that comes within, that goes around, only to realize the self-realization that comes in the epitome, only to realize the small point that comes to the one that unfolds to the two that equals the You be like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Right,
but it sounds like a motherfucker knows what he's talking about. It's just not intellectual garbage bullshit. So the key is to talk to these spirits is to know that what you have been taught, the ceiling on what it is you should be. Read all the books you can and repeat all the shit you can repeat about my yacht. Go in the cipher and drop it. Be able to debate better than the next man is actually the baby portion of your mind. The all-knowing, the all-connected, to go beyond the intellect. And this also corresponds with the three low chakras. The gateway is the heart, which is love, and she said this in the brain as well. It corresponds to the gateway to the higher realms, which is in yourself. So the first thing you need to do is understand that intellect plays a part, but it plays the part, it has a role. It is not what it is you are. You're going to have to go beyond the intellect. And that intellect only ties into the ego. Remember, it's from the first three chakras as well. It ties into the ego. So it seems like the most books you read, the biggest words you can use, seems to be what we're going for here. But the experience of this goes beyond the intellect. I could talk to them because I'm using parts of me that is them, the all-knowing, the all-connected. So anybody who seeks the channel, and as you know, I've been doing a series with Miss Blue on her radio show. I've been giving out methodology for doing this. And what you got to do is put the intellect in its place, if that answers the question, bro.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, is there a special ritual that you have to go through to communicate? Like, do you light candles, or do you communicate with them like you're talking to me on the phone? Is it that simple, or is there something extravagant that you have to do?
Got it. That's a good question. There are many ways to start tapping into this. So meditation, crystals, candles, also learning, watching the DVDs, the tapes that these brothers been leaving behind, anything that gets you or alters your everyday walking around consciousness, taking a bath, whatever does it for you. So there's not a ritual per se or one ritual. This is the whole concept of know thyself, the whole effort of what everyone's been doing, mandalas, sigils, meditations, yoga. So what Wayne Chandler does is a methodology to get into it, as well as what Bobby Hemmett does. And on a certain level, what you want to do, you can incorporate diet only for, in this context, for the purpose of going beyond having health issues. You feel what I'm saying? So you can get your mind in a place of still where you can have these realizations. So it's not one ritual or one way to be. Magic is not versus this or versus that. It's a silly name that puts on, that you can kind of say it is where you find a lot of the methodologies to do this. I was talking to the sister Blue, and I always recommend the book Cyclomancy. And in the book Cyclomancy, I was going to read this on her show, but let me see if I can find this real quick, if I can even find the damn book while I'm looking for the book. It talked about candle magic and how, here we go. And let me find the page. On page 83, this is a book that's hard to get. It's out of print, and it's so powerful that I'm thinking about printing up copies and selling this. But, we were talking about it as I was telling her about the book, and I came across this. And this is about alpha waves. Now, there are at least 5 different levels that your brain radiates waves, like megahertz or hertz. Basically it's a round trip, or waves, or your brain operates at a certain speed of thought. Your everyday walking around is called the beta waves. Your beta waves. That's your conscious mind. That's when you're walking to the store and seeing everybody that you need to see. Alpha waves are the waves that emanate from your subconscious mind. When your brain is at this speed, your subconscious mind is open, the alpha waves. Delta waves are your psychic power centers. When your brain is operating at this speed, your psychic power center is open. Theta waves, or theta waves, is also psychic power, and gamma waves is your deep psychic power. The gamma waves, a lot of people aren't able to get into that, but when you see those yogis stopping their heart, slowing, doing all of these feats, they're trying to go into the gamma state of the mind, and that's your deep psychic power. We also get there when we sleep. So these are 5 different levels of how your brain participate based upon how relaxed and so on. So now the alpha wave is what we're interested in for now. The alpha wave brain emanates from your subconscious mind. They have a frequency of 8 to 13 cycles per second. Now, this is the example they give. A visual field that flickers causes your alpha waves to assume this at the same rate as the flicker. This amounts to mild hypnosis. So let me read it again. A visual field that flickers causes your alpha waves to assume at the same rate as that flicker. This amounts to mild hypnosis. So what we're talking about now is a candle flame. A candle flame, you just seen, it has the ability to hypnotize you. And if you put yourself under this mild state of hypnosis, based upon your agenda for lighting the candle flame, this goes directly to your subconscious mind, i.e. where the reality is, and you then start to create your reality through candle magic. So motherfuckers who's supposed to be so deep, how do you light a candle and this happen? Well, I just told you. You are altering your consciousness by that candle flame. Putting whatever intentions based upon the color and the candle that you're lighting and whatever it is you want to happen or want not to happen, you're putting yourself under a mild state of hypnosis, tapping into the alpha waves of your brain. And it says, the alpha waves disappear during sleep and replaced with intermittent bursts of low voltage, high frequency called sleep spindles. That is so because during sleep it's not really your subconscious mind that is in control, but your primitive auto-consciousness. So this means, number one, what I've been saying about lucid dreams, you'll find on the web, they'll tell you, try to move your hand in the dream, try to do that in the dream, try to do that. That's folly. That's something to mislead you. Let your mind go where it needs to go. So you want to let that primitive auto-consciousness take over. To be lucid in the dream, all you want to do is be aware of it, to study where your mind goes without you controlling it. If you're trying to control yourself in the dream, it's ridiculous because you're controlling yourself every day and you'll just be doing more stupid shit. So there it is laid out that the candle actually hypnotizes you by this flickering light. Now, on the other hand, or the other side of that, you could just take movies, which are flickering lights. You are sitting in a room for darkness with sound all around you at flickering lights. They have been hypnotizing you through movies while you're talking about the elaborate schemes of the Illuminati in the air and all of this that is going to come and get you. All you have to do is go to the movies and you have been hypnotized. And that's from the spirit world. Oscar Micheaux said that's the only thing that's been effective, and as soon as they cut that off, it will be ineffective. That's how bad and far behind they are in control of this. Hypnotizing you with a flickering flame. And not only that, when you go to the movies, you let down your guard because you say, I want to see him jump the wall, fly over a building, save the lady. So you're not looking for reality there. So whatever they tell you, you are in alpha state in the movies. Alpha state in the movies, a state to be hypnotized. The same science that you used when you was doing with the candles, with the flickering flame, and so on and so forth. So like that, there is a higher science to it while you just are regulating it to, well, what does it mean you lighting the candle? That shit ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Go out and kick a whitey's ass, brother, and all that kind of shit. No, what you're trying to do is hypnotize yourself into this reality. You are trying to use your methods to get into your own mind for realization, and you're going to the place, the subconscious mind, that creates all reality for you. Now, I've talked about it before many times. You're getting bitten by a dog. You forget why you may forget it, but it traumatized you so much that it goes deep into the subconscious. You may live your whole life scared of dogs and not realize why. What does this tell us? That the subconscious mind is really running this shit here. The conscious mind is only the subconscious mind's bitch. So, and it's an ignorant bitch. So everything you do magically is trying to get beyond the subconscious mind. So that's what meditating is. That's what having that liquor is for. That's what these yogis do, these things that go beyond the body for, sit in positions, all of this. So you can go past what's consciously what you know, get into the subconscious mind with the intention you sat in the yoga position for, the intention that you lit the candle for. So what you're really doing here is trying to, all of these are just methodologies and symbols that talk to that part of you that create the reality you want to create. So it's no one ritual, it's getting where you fit in. But do something instead of trying to use your intellect or feed the intellect as if you're doing something. That's a small part, 1% part of what it is we're really supposed to be doing here. So the more you can speak about whatever subject you think you study, that's all cute and everything to the true occultist. That just amounts to cute. But so as soon as someone comes to me with that intellect shit, they already showed me their cards. They already showed me how far they got. No matter what the fuck it is they quoting. Oh, peace, beloved brother almighty that comes forth on this day that brings forth. I said, this motherfucker don't know nothing. And it's not what he says. He can say all the fanciest words and tell you where all those books came from, but you didn't do the work. You only did the lazy man's work. Repeat some shit that was in a book or speculate based upon the book. But to realize these things is what the hope of the ancients that people so love to raise up. The realization of these things. So we're a little bit more simple than we think. So all these candles and symbols and pictures, why is Bobby Hemmett selling pictures? Because pictures are gateways that talk to the subconscious mind. It gets you in. So all of these, there's a world of methodologies. Any of these things that you could just go in the goddamn Barnes & Noble and find in one section are all methodologies for getting into that part of you that gives you that aha moment, that intuitive part of yourself or create some divine inspiration, something that's divine, some divine inspiration. So all of these, tarot, you name it, any of these studies are, but it's up to you to go beyond the intellect, if that answers it.
Now, you mentioned the candles. Now, as far as the crystals, what exactly? Because a lot of people talk about crystals, and a lot of people like to wear crystals. But what are the crystals doing to you in your soul?
Okay, that's a good question too. My aunt her name is Jo Kevitt. She does all the Reiki stuff. Before, I'm 41. She was doing this shit, way before I was born. When all this enema and colonic shit came up, she knows Phil Valentine very well. They all came up together, a fool of all of them. So I learned crystal shit from her. And basically, she told me a lot of shit that she discovered. And you can read it in books. Ultimately, first and foremost, any quartz crystal energizes anything in the room. Quartz crystals could be cleansed and programmed. So a quartz crystal can be used for whatever purpose. that you desire. And whatever you program it for, and there's plenty of books on how to program it, but whatever you program it for, that's the intention. Some of them are carved and shaped for whatever intention. Some are pyramids, some are balls, some are shaped in skulls, and blah, blah, blah. Now, it energizes anything around you, and it energizes whatever your intent. So if you just sit them in your altar, have them around your room, just regular crystals down, whatever it is, the power, the energy goes up. Now, there's also, you got to remember, when the earth crystallized, these quartz crystals also encapsulated information. Ancient information are trapped in these crystals. Ancient forms of light are trapped in these crystals. Now, she was telling me, my aunt now, Yo Kevitt, was telling me, if you study these crystals, some of them have notches, some of them have really little minute craters, some of them have horizontal lines, and she was explaining all these things to me. And she showed me some Lemurian crystals. And you would drop it not even an inch from whatever surface, not even an inch, maybe on a table, and just drop it. And I was dropping regular crystals and Lemurian crystals. The Lemurian crystals make a whole different sound. Brother Chris. Chris was with me one time when we went back to the store, and I told him about that. And Chris actually bought some Lemurian crystals. And when you drop them, they make a whole different sound, which means they're older crystals, if you will, and they store ancient information from Atlantis and Lemuria. So if you were to get one of these crystals, these are the crystals you would clean it but wouldn't clear it, if you will. And even if you clear it, the information is in those notches anyway. So by putting it in your house, whatever study that you're going on, you are now energizing that study with the power of this ancient energy that's radiating within your area. Now, there's also meditation. She told me you can hold it in your hand. You can sleep with them. I get the eye thing. Some of the flat crystals I put over that little eye patch, put it on the third eye, and to alter the dreams. And you can actually sit there and scratch one of the notches on the crystal and see what you are divinely inspired by based upon your intention for meditating. So the crystals they actually talk to you. You actually become the crystal because the crystal becomes one with your light. There's crystals in your body. That information is communicating with the crystals in your body and the crystals in the pineal. Now, there's also stone, rose quartz, obsidian, and the rest of them that have a built-in intention. Now, you could get any book on crystals and any encyclopedia on crystals, Anyone USA, and they'll give you a whole heap of what these rocks do. You go to, if they say you need money, you need health, your heart, your feet, your root chakra, your crown chakra, you need to make more doo-doo, you need to make less doo-doo, there's a rock for it. The rock communicates with the part of you because all of these energies are within you. So you're supposed to be able to tap into you to bring it out. The rock actually works with you in doing whatever you need to accomplish. For instance, obsidian, one of the best rocks, is actually hardened lava. It comes from the volcano. What it does is when you hold it, it brings things out the subconscious mind. It usually brings the things that hurt, that you don't want to deal with, and forces you to deal with them. So most people say it's a very powerful rock, and they'll also say hold regular quartz crystal in your hand while or around you, work with them together so it could balance out what comes out of your subconscious mind. So crystals energize you. Crystals, you can be energized by it, or you can, like I said, there's so many agendas in it, but any book, crystals are something that are tangible and you can hold in your hand. So most white people can understand this concept because it's an intellectual, it's something that satisfies you intellectually as well. This rock does that. Put it in your pocket, walk to the store, and you'll feel better. So it satisfies the intellect. So what this means, most white people got it. So that means there's a whole heap of books that they wrote about our science based upon something that they understand and something that they were able to make work for them. So you can get books on crystals as the day is long. But guaranteeing any work you're doing to energize, you should have crystals around. Anything you're doing to energize, you should have crystals around. And the thing is to get to know each crystal individually. So the one that you wear on your neck, let's just say, is the one you got to know. Take it to bed with you. You know what I mean? Some people don't believe it. When you take spiritual baths to energize the bath based upon what it is you're trying to do, put the crystal up in there. You know what I mean? Amethyst up in there. Sleep with them. You can get 7 rocks that speak to each chakra, hold them in a bag. Whenever you're feeling down, just hold the 7 rocks in your hand to balance out your chakras. Or sleep with them. If I'm feeling not right or whatever, need to balance, I'll put those 7 rocks that I had for years now with me, boom, because I know them, they're mine, they're in my hand, I communicate with them, blah, 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 blah. So now what this means is, you are now communicating with that part of yourself, and you have batteries called these crystals. So that I hope that answers it.
Yeah, definitely answers it thoroughly.
All right.
Okay, now I got a few questions from the people that I just seen pass by my table. One question is from a brother. He's part of the Nation of Gods and Earths. So I told him what the show was about. So the brother, he wanted me to ask you a question. He's saying that he comes from the era of show and prove. He's saying how is it possible for you to prove what you're saying is right and exact if nobody else is experiencing this, if they can't research it, if they can't look it up? It's just we're just going by your word. So how are the people able to go on just your word? He's saying that people might think it's just it could be just a con. I forgot the dude. I think he said some dude he said seen on TV. But how are people supposed to know that?
I get what you're saying. And here's the show and prove. I'm telling you how to do it your damn self.
Mhm.
I'm telling you how to do it your damn self. I'm telling you the books to read that I did it in. So I'm not going to do your work for you. It's folly. He's from the era of show and prove. I'm from the new era of it's already been proved, what's the next thing you do? You get what I'm saying? Bobby Hemmett has been shown and proved. Jewel Pogram has been shown and proved. Wayne Chandler has been shown and proved. Shit, all you got to do is watch the History Channel. They show motherfuckers getting stabbed in the hand and the head and not bleeding. What fucking more proof do you need? You get what I'm saying? That's everything I just got saying about the intellect. He needs he's not talking about show and prove. He's talking about intellectually satisfy me. So all not only on this show, on the other show. I mean, if you don't get it, you ain't supposed to get it. That's the proof. I'm not here. I'm talking to scientists. You know what I mean? I'm talking to the scientists. So if you can't get a crystal and see what you come up to prove to yourself. This is about know thyself, not know what Panic said and to make you understand. This is about know thyself. So, again, go get a crystal and start there. I just proved to you that a candle flicker gets you into alpha state. Go do it and try it. That's the show and prove.
Quick question about the whole candle thing. Now, is that something you recommend us doing every night, or is that something like
people who are drawn to that's just a section of the many ways you can get in. It's a section of many ways you can get in. So if it draws you to it, that's what you're supposed to be doing. I do not do it every night, and I do not even hardly light a candle anymore because it's going beyond that. That flickering flame or that alpha state, you eventually know how to get in by yourself. You eventually know how to get into that by yourself. So, that light or that flickering light is actually trying to communicate with the pineal. So now that I made thorough communication with the pineal, you move beyond the candle, if you will. I've dropped many methodologies, many understandings, and many if you ain't figured that out, that's exactly what you're from, stuck. You're not anything but stuck.
Okay, we got about an hour and a half left on the show. Once again, the calling number is 646-727-2039. We're going to go over a few more questions, and then we're going to go into the whole Michael Jackson transmission that Brother Panic experienced. I know everybody wants to know about that. We're going to get to that in a little while. I wanted to ask you, Brother Panic, and me and you talked about this before, as far as when you're receiving these spiritual transmissions, do you think they could get lost or misinterpreted due to the restraints of the English language? Being that we speak this English language, I mean, when they communicate with us, is it hard to communicate it with somebody because of this language that we speak?
Nah, I mean, there's really no restraints in it. I notice people say there's restraints on the language each time they fuck up a word.
Yeah.
They talk. They're not talking in English. They're not talking in Meduneta or none of that shit. They're talking in symbols. So it's up to you to interpret the symbols. Now, if the transmission, I'll be more than happy, like I will with the Michael Jackson, to say what I was shown and what I came up with. And I also say, well, you may come up with something else. Knock yourself silly, because a picture tells 1,000 words. So if anything, more than the English language, I would say the brain would be more of the handicap, the human brain.
Okay.
So why can't these people or other people have these realizations? And mind you, it's not just me. I mean, I have, as the day is long, over at least, 75 the people who share in this with me. Channels, joint channels, same dreams the same night. You name it, I have a phenomenon for your ass every week. You feel what I'm saying? Michael Jackson is phenomenal to others, but this was just another transmission for me. And in fact, I had to go back to remember what it was he said. You get what I'm saying? And at the same time, other people sharing this experience. So it's way beyond just, you know what I mean? It's just way beyond that. So, it's not, like I said, it's the symbols, it's your best understanding. So what the intellect serves there, where the intellect serves there, and that's why when we went to sleep, commissioned white people to make all these books about ancient shit, because you must satisfy the intellect to move on. So based upon my early intellectual pursuit, I go back after the symbols are there, and then I could rely on my intellect pursuit, which was the foundation that got me into the next level. Then I could go back to my intellect and interpret the symbols based upon my study, as opposed to my interpretation. If it was for me, it's for my interpretation. But something like Mike is something that's supposed to tell the world. So I'll say what he said, then I'll say what I decoded it. If you see something else, by all means. You get what I'm saying? So that comes from me studying the mythology, the Gnosticism, Kabbalah, voodoo, quantum realities, psychic work, you name the science, books from the floor to the ceiling. The difference is I knew that was the foundation to go someplace else. That's not the ceiling on who I am. I'm drowned in books, but that's not the ceiling on what we are, to experience it. So once you experience it, because we went to sleep to these things, that's where this intellect becomes so important. It then begins to shape with the restraints of the brain, and you could even say the restraints of English if you want. The restraints of these things that you've been degraded to, the intellect now comes into play as a servant for you to understand what you just got from the ethers. As Oscar Kwesi would say, that genetic memory bank. So what you got out of that, the intellect then starts to give it form and shape, and you use the best deduction. If it don't make sense, then don't do it. I'm looking for people to say, that shit makes a lot of sense. Or, something, and most of the time when it's happening, somebody will also have something to add on based upon their intellectual pursuit. You feel me? So that's how it's done. This was seen, and I've seen this, that, the other. Sometimes I can't figure it out. And I'll share with others, and they'll figure it out. Oh, you know something? I read a book. I read this. I read that. Now, for instance, here's some show and prove shit for your ass. There's a sister, Lakshmi was coming through. There's a whole thing with Lakshmi. There's another sister who channels, Kanisha. I told her, you actually know her. She says she knows you. She comes by your table. Next time she's by, I tell her to identify herself to you. She's a sister Oshun, Kanisha. I said, find Lakshmi, blah, 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 blah. She goes to sleep, comes back. There's a Lakshmi that came, but there's a singing Lakshmi, something about Lakshmi with music, and there was a new divine, there was this divine marriage, and Lakshmi. I said, I have no idea what the fuck you talking about. A couple of weeks later, Michael Jackson dies, and he's Vishnu as well, the husband of Lakshmi. So this singing Lakshmi now marries this mic. So you use your intuition, your best judgment, and you understand these things come into play. You have to be there. See, what people are looking for is how they're intellectually satisfied. And that's how we open up the show. You have to have a more holistic approach to it with end-time events. And it's the thing you have to do where you become the knower. How do you know? I just know. They're looking for the intellect, you know what I'm saying? And you know, they're looking for something to satisfy them. Well, here's the book here. You know, we got enough books. How do you know? I just know. And
I just know. Yep.
Yeah, I know. You want to get you become the knowers. The Egyptians were knowers, not wanderers or thinkers. There was a sister who said, "Yo, I seen this statue of the thinker." You know, that classic pose where the niggas thinking. I think of it. I thought of you. I want to get. I said, don't give me that bullshit. I'm not trying to be the thinker. I'm trying to be the knower. And that's even the science, even when that's in William Henry's book, when Jesus is that classic finger pointing up in the air. It's saying that's a symbol of him being the knower, and he is pointing up because that's where he became the knower by looking to his higher self. That's how he became the knower. So you're supposed to be the knower, and even Bruce Lee dropped that shit in Enter the Dragon. He said, he said, look at the finger. Nigga was looking at the finger, smacked the shit out of him. He said, if you concentrate on the finger, you're going to miss all the glory of the moon. So now, when you that was still symbolic and still if you concentrate on Jesus, you're going to miss all the glory of where his shit is coming from, which is why he points up. So if you concentrate on the intellect, you're going to miss all the glory of your true self. You get what I'm saying? There's no, you got, you know, let's get this straight. I don't tell you my channels and say do that because I channeled it. Never said that. You get what I'm saying? You need to do this, you need to do that. Any form I spread this, well, this is what I discovered. You do what you need to do. I've always been, follow me based upon I got a channel and that's what it is. No, that's silly. That's folly. This shit is for me and for me alone. My own realizations. You get what I'm saying? And if you want to hear, because even this channel shit that Mike gave me is technically for me, but people want to hear it. This is for me to get my knowledge, not for me to enlighten your ass based upon my fucking work. I'm telling you to do your work, and not only that, I've been telling motherfuckers how to do their work, what I did. So that's the reality here. Get your asses moving. You get what I'm saying? Get your asses moving. Stop asking me, how authentic it is, and go authenticate the shit yourself, lazy nigga. Lazy nigga. You know what I mean? I see this lazy shit all the time. What book could I get? I said, I just told you 30 books on Miss Blue show. Yeah. Go back and listen to the show. Just want to hear me say something. A sermon. You know what I'm saying?
Like you said, the time we in now, you just got to know it. Sometimes it won't be in a book.
Exactly. It won't be in a book. Where do you think the information came from in the first place? Where do you think the Egyptians were getting what they got? From the ethers, nigga. There's nobody, who you ask an Egyptian, well, where'd you get that from? Show and prove. I got it from, nigga.
Hey, there you go. Where did they get it from? They ain't get it from there you go. Yeah.
Are you out your mind, nigga? I am that nigga that returned to do the same shit that the ancients did. I took this shit seriously.
Yeah.
Said we are this and we are that and we are the first this. I took this shit seriously. And said if they could do it and we are that, we got all this fucking melanin we like to talk about. What does it mean? This is what it means. You get what I'm saying? I am the show and prove, nigga, that you looking for. I'm the proof you're looking for. And I'm the same proof telling you the methodology to get into it. I'm the proof. So enough with these penny-ante questions. Niggas standing on the corner buying DVDs, asking this shit. We got to stop thinking that this is some sort of thing we should be doing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The age of Pisces is the age of the believer. That's why the church ruled. The age of Aquarius is the age of the knower. We in the age of Aquarius right now. You're going to get left behind if you ain't the knower, nigga. You get what I'm saying? You got to become the knower. You got to trust in yourself. You got to trust in yourself. The Sister Blue told me she had a big, powerful revelation where herself came to herself and said the words, trust in consciousness or faith in consciousness. I said, that's powerful. We talked for about an hour just on that alone. All this consciousness is here, but no one seems to have faith in it. Did you ever notice that, Rich? Everything, you got a whole table full of shit, but everyone is always want to question or debate or argue some shit. No one has faith in this consciousness that we got this shit. We the Camites, and Ra, and we built the pyramids, and we used to do this, and we could talk telepathically and walk through walls and walk on water, but then niggas want to just question, well, I don't think what Phil says in this particular thing, and I don't think what Bobby said on this particular, I didn't agree. It's like, motherfucker, stop that shit already. Become the Noah. They're not saying, I mean, you tell me, what do you have to offer? What have you discovered besides something that was given to you and told you this is it? What have you discovered? Tell me something. You get what I'm saying? And that's where they come up short. That's you show and prove something. You get what I'm saying? You show and prove something. You get what I'm saying? So how to astro travel, how to astro project, easy, how to meditate. There are many methods of meditation. You could throw a rock in Barnes & Noble and find a book on meditating. But what you need to find the meditations that work for you. One of the ones that, for me, your eyes, and you look at your pineal gland, you'll start to see pictures. And the more and more you practice in that form of meditation, what you're looking for is to go into an altered state, into an altered mind state. And you will feel it, and the more and more you do it, just have an intention. You're looking for intuition. You're not looking for something big. Now, you're talking to somebody who's, my father was a master meditating nigga, showed me how since I was 3 years old. One of the easiest things to do, and this is what he taught me when I was a 3-year-old, for all of those who didn't know how to figure this shit out. What he taught me when I was a 3-year-old was think of one thing like an apple. Focus on that apple, and then focus on it with all 5 senses, how it would feel, how it would taste, how it looks when it's cutting, how it's smelling. In other words, you're bringing your thoughts to one point. You're focusing the noise in your mind to one point. And after you get it to this one point, once you get it to this one point, you are then starting to exercise the ability to do that. You want to go on to something more complex now, like a tree. Then you want to go on to something more complex, like a car that moves, then a house. And then what you are doing in one fell swoop by going on and on with this meditation thing, trying to focus your mind, you are then starting to point that laser beam, the pineal gland. You are exercising that part of yourself or opening that gateway to all that shit, divination, to channeling, to astral projecting, to lucid dreams, all of these goddamn things. You are now starting to open up those pathways to your own realization. Your realization, my realization, and the next one's realization are their realizations. Everybody came down here with a different agenda. You're not looking to synchronize with the next man's realization. What you're looking to do is exercise these methods to opening up this other reality or waking your third eye. That really sees is that simple. If someone's still asking these questions when there are so much books and there's so much internet about it, then you should give up and just go back to church at this point. If you're asking, this is an unreality for you, your safest place is the church. You don't belong in it. You don't want to hear it, because if you want to hear it, it's there. If I owed you $30, I bet you'd be on my ass. Did your check clear? Did you get paid? What did the bank say? Did you get it yet? Go to the ATM? You know what I'm saying? If I owed you that $30, so act like it's that $30, nigga, and go read some books. Put some zealousy. Get zealous about this. You feel what I'm saying? So it's all there. The information's there. Take the intellect and start doing these practices. Anything you want is at the fingertips. If you online listening to this now, then you can Google. And if you could Google any words you hear, you can come up with something. Stop trying to be deep. You know what I'm saying? And go deep within yourself. You know, so that's what this shit is about. Going deep within the self.
I agree with you 100%. And like I said, what you got to realize is that a lot of us lost faith in this information due to the fact that we think everything is a conspiracy and that, you know, the only thing you hear about is, they got HARP and they got this and they got that. How are we going to defeat them? It makes no sense to even try. I know brothers that left lectures that went on and just felt completely hopeless. Brothers and sisters that just wanted to get out of the consciousness because they said, well, what am I in this for? We don't stand a chance. So I think one of the main reasons that, I think you're coming with this information and it's so strong and it's so vital right now is that you give the faith. And sometimes I don't want to use that word because the church uses it so much, but it's a perfect word. You give us back the faith. Like, how could in one instance we say we God, but in another instance...
we get our ass whipped by chemtrails. Yeah, I know what you mean about... My sister, this sister from Philly named Taz, powerful goddess. I was talking to her the other day. She said the most profound shit about this. She said, if they are doing all of this, how come you the one that gets to remind us all the fucking time that they doing this? I said, that's so profound. Like, if all of the shit you say is true, why the fuck you going to remind us all the time? Every waking moment you come and remind us that they doing this shit. So I can't even listen to that shit no more. You get what I'm saying?
Keep giving it energy and energizing it.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I can't even listen to this shit no more. So all of that to say, you know what I mean? You are what you feel you are. If you are under them and you are a slave, hell yeah, nigga, you a slave. Melanin is under your command. You fish your wish. So you a slave with all that melanin? Hell yeah, nigga, you a slave, nigga. And I'm willing to have you come sweep up my house. I'm willing to have you come sweep up my house if that's what you choose to use your melanin for. I choose to have greater realizations. You get what I'm saying? You'll be around this motherfucker all day worrying about what they're going to do with the dollar bill. What they're going to do, what they're doing with these goddamn injections. And, it's a bunch of folly. You know what I'm saying? It's there to throw you off your track.
I heard you say one time, I don't know whose show you were on, you were saying if they got to come up with 45 different things to try to stop you, then obviously 44 of those things didn't work.
Right. Did not work. You know what I mean? There's always a new speaker with a new thing. Why a new thing? If the last thing you said was you was just so worried, so and all, you had your head and slammed your fist talking about goddamn the microchip biology, whatever. Now, when you talk about a new goddamn thing, what happened to the last thing that they just had? Right. You get what I'm saying? What's the last time they just said? The earth is over. Our time is up. It's a wrap here. You got to realize how many billions of years you have been here, and you want to be here some more? That's on you. Knock yourself silly. You know what I'm saying? Knock yourself silly. We trying to get up out of here. I'm not trying to hear the story of a rat in the corner trying to survive. And he don't even have no weapons. I told you this before. Remember the nigga that comes to school with the karate slippers on and the karate suit? We thought this nigga was ill. But all he ever had was a fucking karate suit and karate slippers. And it was nothing else. No skill, no nothing. You the one constantly, we got melanin, we got this, we got that. But what they got is you under mind control, nigga. We got melanin, we still the slaves and all that kind of, and they still doing it. No, that's where they winning. That's where they winning. But no, that's where they winning with you personally. If you think that, so be it. If you think that, so be it. Knock yourself silly. Knock yourself silly. There's a whole reality that's waiting to be realized. Whoever decides to realize it. Whoever decides to realize it. Get what I'm saying? So, enough with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm even tired of telling motherfuckers how phony that shit is at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Let me just, we're about to get into the whole MJ transmission now. Let me just read something briefly that you wrote in a blog that you sent to me that's dealing with what we're talking about now. And you said that most of the conspiracy theories are made up and put out for the reason of trapping the soul. They know Michael Jackson is now outside of his body and is far more dangerous at this point than he could ever be trapped as a human. So they need to do what they can to slow the process of his true rise. They put these conspiracy stories out as an act of war, and here we go, supposed to be conscious and know-it-alls, and the first ones to fall for the third-grade bullshit trick of distraction. Furthermore, what also kills me is this. If we all laws of attraction now, and Oprah's even on this level, the secret book, nothing precedes a thought, and everything that is happening to you here is based on your on magnetic thoughts, including the way you decide to leave the planet. If he was killed by what or whoever, this was his choice, still based on the metaphysics people claim to have studied and be teaching you. Wow, that's deep.
Right. Everyone's been teaching you the laws of attraction, that nothing precedes a thought. Every thought is controlled by you. You create your own reality. Like it or love it. There's nothing in the universe that sees as a good or evil. They give it to you. So even your way to die, based upon that science, laws of attraction that everybody's into, is the way you chose to die. So if you got trampled by elephants, a safe got dropped on your head, or whatever, that based upon the laws of attraction, that's how it's done. So the doctor could have killed them. The Illuminati, a nigga emailed me. And then was mad when I kicked this motherfucker off my goddamn friend list. You like everybody else in Babylon, you know, because I kicked him on my friends list. He said Michael Jackson was supposed to get on stage and reveal Illuminati secrets and things about the future. I said, nigga, come on, what, between Thriller and Billie Jean? Wait a minute, let me tell you about the Illuminati. You get what I'm saying? If this nigga was scared to fight this kid who he didn't fuck, he was scared and paid those people off, and then the kid came out and said, Mike never fucked me. He was scared and folded like a cheap armchair under that pressure. So you mean to tell me Mike's gonna get on stage and start dropping Illuminati science in between Billie Jean and Beat It? Mm-hmm. Do people ever even think? You know, let's use some common sense. It's not. It makes me think Mike turning white and cutting off his nose, he wasn't crazy. These niggas is crazy. You know what I'm saying? These niggas is crazy. Mike's going to get on stage. Hold up. Stop the music. Stop the music. Did y'all know that the Illuminati has been putting chemtrails in the air for years? All right, turn it back on. Dirty Diana. You know what I mean? What the fuck kind of sense to me? I was like, nigga, you off my friends list. I'm tired of explaining that type of shit. You get what I'm saying? I'm tired of explaining that. You're like everybody else in Babylon. I'm like, then goddamn it, so be it.
Mm-hmm. Now,
so yeah, I mean, laws of attraction, however he went, it's a plus for us. He's out of the body. So if you know anything, what's the problem? What's all this scared of death shit? Fuck it. You know, they did us a favor. Which only then proves the Illuminati's working for us.
I mean, at the end of the day, you know, they're only playing their role in the movie called Life. It's all a mythology, and they just playing their small little role. You know, so whatever they do, you know, that's the role that they're supposed to play. It's not like they're going against their role.
There you go. That's profound, Rich, and that's exactly what it is. That's what we were talking about when she had the epiphany, faith in consciousness. Meaning, wait a minute, if we was all these smart Egyptian pyramid builders, the ancient ones, Sumerians, and all these, the children of Mu and all this kind of shit, you mean to tell me we dropped the ball over this flat-ass motherfucker? No, what if this is by our design? And it is. Let's probe that thought. All this, we slaves on Earth and the money system, and we not getting this, and we have melanin, but this and that. What if you had faith in what it is you are, or faith in the consciousness or the conscious reality that you are, what if this is by design? What if you are actually running this? And like you just got finished saying, what if the white man is playing his role? Will you decide to play your role? Would be the real question.
It's kind of like
it's celebrate his role. Your role is to celebrate your role while he does his. You can't make a movie without a bad guy. We in the movie, so we have to make a bad guy.
Right.
Only playing his role. You get what I'm saying? It means nothing. It means nothing to a God. You get what I'm saying? What happened to that? Everybody, yo, what up, God? What up, God? What up, God? And then all of a sudden, they got a chip that can hear your thoughts. Nah, I'm not. I'm not joining into that fucking bullshit club. You know what I'm saying? I'm not joining in that bullshit club.
I got you.
That's the choice. You get what I'm saying? If you want to do that, that's even a choice. You know what I'm saying? And when I hear that, it's usually people. When I hear that, people get deep in this conspiracy thing and can't get out. It's because they haven't gone anywhere. It's because they think they crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's, but none of this thing, they're not feeling none of this thing beyond the intellect. They're not feeling none of this thing. They're not feeling none of this thing. They have to start talking about what most people feel, which is the pressure of finances, rent, black-on-black crime, all your earthly things. So they scientifically no longer teach you science. They scientifically have words that's only teaching you about your humanity or your human plights or your human day-to-day drudgery. So most people got into this to get out of just their human day-to-day misery. They tried to find an alternative reality in consciousness. I knew how many times I knew there was something more. Now it is the forum for you and your human catastrophe. Oh, this one's going to do this. This one really means that. They're going to do this. Niggas argue you down about how they want it. I'm like, do you niggas want to go to these goddamn camps? This is the point. These niggas would be better off. You know what I'm saying? Some of these niggas would be better off. You know what I'm saying? There's 19-year-old niggas. My man Ty, who said, look, motherfucker, they already canceled the whole project. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? He's 19. You get what I'm saying? Master Guard. He said some of the shit. I'm like, God damn, I see niggas who've been lecturing for years who can't even come up with that concept. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Struggle to come up with that concept because they get it naturally. You know what I'm saying? Naturally. Most people are looking for the sad part of the story, which is in their human misery. Remember, the original intention is to look for this thing to come to a higher level, a higher understanding of some form of light. That's what it was for. That was the intention for the whole conscious thing. Now it's just become another place to gripe, another place to just sit there and go, ugh. You know what I mean? Another thing, someone's telling you how many ways you can't do nothing. How many ways you can't do nothing. I'm telling you things you can do, things that I know personally at work, and I say go for it and see what happens to you. There's I got a list from here to the ceiling about motherfuckers who have done things and have gone to the next level, had many realizations. This is for years now. This is not new. I'm not just coming around with this. I've been teaching motherfuckers for years, and if even beyond the channeling, I don't even need to fly that motherfucking flag. If I really want to fly a flag around here, I'm an avid researcher. I researched like a motherfucker. So in terms going back to the show Improve, nigga, I am a researcher from head to ceiling. In fact, as you know, Rich, I was a lecturer first, and we stopped. What did we stop to do? To get down with the research. Please believe on some proof shit. I'll give you more books than you can read from now to the rest of the time we got left on planet Earth. Please believe that's the case. So proof, nigga, I'm the proof nigga. I am the study nigga. I am not only the study one book nigga, I'm the study 4, 5 books on the subject, to cross-reference, double-check, check the web, and bounce it off niggas who read books, the same books as well. Research is my shit. Channeling is a side effect of me getting busy with it. You feel what I'm saying? That's a side effect. That's a side effect. So that to say,
now get into the whole Michael Jackson thing. Transmission.
Okay.
Now, what exactly? I'll let you go into it because you can explain it best. But just what exactly was going on?
Okay, I'll be happy to tell you. And let me say this: Sage Sister Blue read this thing. Usually, when I type them, it's usually the next day, and I could hear whatever it is coming through. In this case, it was Mike spreading it, so the energy's on it. So many people read this and had that comfort that they needed. The Sister Blue read this shit, and this is a phenomenon. It's a phenomenon that happened to me when the goddess Tara was coming through. You'll sit there and tears will start rolling down your eyes. You feel no emotion, but you cannot stop your eyes from crying. And basically it's a cleaning out, and Tara is tears. Now, when she read this thing, she said she read it 3 times in a row, each time these tears. So immediately I knew she was going to another level spiritually. This stuff is supposed to shed all forms of your humanity. So this was a powerful writing
we were supposed to do it earlier. It only happened within a week after we did the show with Bobby and myself together.
Yeah.
Now, since then, Farrakhan did a whole thing acknowledging Michael Jackson as the Archangel Michael.
Right, he did.
He did a whole thing on it. So this thing is a reality. It's a phenomenon. There's some proof for your ass. We're the first ones to say it, bring it out from the ethers, and then you have other entities speaking on it. I'm even told Phil Valentine acknowledged it on either a radio show or somewhere as well as Michael being the Archangel Michael. At least I was told that. So other people are acknowledging this thing after we channeled it. There's some proof for that ass. So maybe 3 to 4 days later, we started picking up shit from Mike. Now, what we found out was, with all the people playing his old Michael Jackson shit from, you know, from the 60s and 70s, he couldn't find that light. He was looking for a light. And when we did the radio show, he came through the next day and said he heard everything. Bobby told I got that. Bobby told me that separately. Yeah, Mike came through and said he heard everything. I said, yeah, the nigga said the same shit to me. We were the light that he was looking for. We were that light that he was looking for, this conscious light. And even us getting together and the acclimates for the show, you bringing the show, it was all a part. It wasn't just me and Bobby. It was the coming together, and it was a eulogy to send Mike off correctly. This conscious light coming together, and what we were saying were lining up with what people were feeling about Mike. This was enough to show Mike where to go. So the first things that started happening after Mike came through the next day, said he heard the show. Linda, Bobby's queen, started picking up shit from Mike. And all he would do was question, asking who Hilton Hotima is, asking all this conscious shit, getting up to speed. They said they had to leave books open for him so he could read all day. He's asking about shit in Bobby's house, asking for water, asked for popcorn, asked him for like a cheeseburger, hamburgers and fries and all that kind of shit. Basically, when they do that, this spirit, that symbolical, physical thing we're doing of feeding them transforms into spiritually feeding them. Get what I'm saying? So spiritually, he was feeding them, energizing Mike. So I said, okay, this nigga's going to show up. He damn sure showed up. Me in the dream state, this nigga kept me up the entire night. What he asked me about, I have a deity called Lama Dama. Lama Dama is basically the great mother figure. But Lama Dama is dressed like the classic Aunt Jemima. So most people as a human have been taught to hate this figure. But if anybody knows about transformation, that Queen Mother Yemen Yah, great mother figure, must transform. So she turned into, at one point, Aunt Jemima, that big fat mama. And so that avatar still is valid, if you will, for the great mother. That's a part of her transformation, because that's her transformation in America. Not many people will get with that. So she's on my altar with Kuan Yin, Isis, Kali, with all the rest of the goddesses, Lakshmi and the rest of them. He couldn't figure out why this Aunt Jemima was up there when we were taught that's an image we were trying to socially get away from. He asked me all about it. I told him all about transformation. The shit took all night. And I was like, look, nigga, you cannot do that to me. I need to sleep. Next night he came through, and he actually asked me what was liquor all about. Why are we giving up liquor? So I explained to him, the water, most of the ancestors want the water. It's symbolic of, the thirst quenching and blah, 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 the life, blah, blah, blah. The liquor's like gasoline when you want to get shit done. So, I was like, that's like doing a show at, water's like doing a show at PS or Junior High School 192. That them concerts you've been doing in them stadiums, that's what the liquor's like feeding you, the energy for that. So you got that. So I'm like, I'm still thinking it's going to take him a while to come through, because he needs to sift through all of that, radio shows and VH1 specials, because all of those things act like anchors that ground you in the physical world. So while you think that you're helping Mike, you're technically supposed to be pushing him away, but you actually pull him down with that, Mike, we miss you, and all that kind of shit. He's a nigga, if any other nigga, that doesn't need fan acclimates. Grown white man pass out in stadiums over here. So he doesn't need acclimates. What he needed was understanding. Why was I such the phenomenon from day one? When Bobby and myself on your show was given this conscious information to define his mythology, St. Michael and so on and so forth, when we were defining his mythology, it was a definition that he needed to remember himself and why he came to Earth and blah, 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 and his destiny and what he needed to do. So I said, well, let me see what's up. I'm gonna go downtown, do what I need to do, and I'm going to stop to get the hamburger and french fries that Mike wanted, turkey burgers. As I'm walking, and Rich, you from New York, and you know what time it is on West 4th with them bums selling them books. Outside is like Skid Row walking through that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Within the drudgery of this Sanford and Son landscape, there was this motherfucking picture. The shit called to me. It was Mike. It was hand-drawn. It was Mike in that top hat, same picture from Ebony, drawn with these Field of Reeds. Called me and said, rescue me. I said, shit. I started to walk. I said, nope, I got to get this shit. Went, motherfuckers were stopping, pointing to this picture within the landscape of all this bum shit. I picked it up, waited for this bum for about 10 to 15 minutes. He came. He said, $2. He looked at my face and said, $5. I said, nigga, you just said $2. I'll give you $3. I give you $3, you bum ass. You know what I'm saying? You know, so then I said, okay. Then I said, no, Mike wanted that $5 for it, that donation. I said, no, son, bro, here, take $5. Took it. Immediately, Mike started coming through, running his mouth. Yeah, nigga, this is a gateway. I'm going to come through this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that for you. He said, give it to Bobby Hemmett. I said, oh, fuck. What? You know, I like, give it to Bobby Hemmett. And he's going to try to put it near the Baron Samdi altar. Tell him to put it near the Pan altar. Now I'm pissed. I'm like, I got to give this fucking picture to this nigga. I'm like, fuck. It's hot. So took it home, put it up, you know, put it to the side, you know, told Bobby, yeah, this, that, yeah, nigga, I don't really want to put it to the side. Sure enough, Michael's ass comes through hard than a motherfucker. And I'm going to go through the channel because I have to go through reading it because I don't really remember it. I'll go with what I remember and see if I leave anything out. Now, let me say this now. I wrote this up. It reads better, even with the typos, it reads better than I can ever explain it because it was meant to be written up in the first place. Even though people were like, no, you need to do an audio on it. I was like, well, Rich already put his stake in the ground for that. You know what I mean? So I said, I got to say that for Rich. But you can read what I wrote on this particular channel on my MySpace page. Just go to myspace.com/pandemon, PANDEMON. And just go to my blogs, and there it is. So I'm going to explain what it is he was telling me and how I decoded it. First thing, and this is not a big deal for me, I've helped many people can testify to this. I've helped people go through these dimensions. When we sleep, there are many dimensions, many sub-dimensions. We also call these dimensions cipheras at these points. And they'll tell you each ciphera is a malkuth, which means there are sub-dimensions. That's a matrix. So this matrix, most people get caught in when they die based upon whatever it is they were dealing with. For instance, a sister was telling me, Sister Nicole was telling me that her father has all these spirits around his house, and there's one nigga that chops wood all the time. So I explained to her that's not hot. When he died, see what probably happened in life, he was able to feed his kids, able to keep the slave bastards whipping his ass, probably be able to tell his kids, you know, you're the first one to go to college based upon me doing this job of chopping wood. So chopping wood to him may have been all his self-esteem that brought dignity to his home, to his family, and whatever. So when he died, this nigga's stuck in a loop because he knows nothing else of chopping wood. That gives him happiness and satisfaction. Right. That needs to be free. So these dimensions are the depth of you. That's nothing but those paths and those cipheras. And I spiritually visited those cipheras, not even just, you know, logically talking about them. I went to those in the spirit world, and it's fucked up. Even the best one, Shasad, the Mercy, or whatever the fuck, whenever that is, I went there, and it was a cookout. It was a nigga cookout. And there was no knife fights or nothing. But I was like, yo, y'all niggas ain't thinking about going above. I was pointing above, above the abyss. Niggas tell me, no, you got to be right to go up there. I was like, yeah, nigga, let's go. And even though this was a wonderful, calm place and there was a chicken in every pot, niggas was still dumb and fucked up. On the other side, I also went to see Mars, none but a bunch of disgruntled niggas. And, you know, so Matrix, that's why they say the middle path, straight path to God. You're supposed to go up that middle path to Kepler and all that kind of shit. So these dimensions are fucked up. So what I had to do was navigate Mike so he doesn't get trapped in the dimension. And that would be hard for Mike because all this love he's getting, he could be trapped in the dimension when he's doing a show every night and just getting those acclimates. He knew better than that. I navigated him through, and what I seemed to get him to was a point where there was an abyss-type thing, and there was a beast beyond it. The only place I heard this before is Jarl the Boss swimming below the abyss, which is nothing but the humanity or the human ego. Now, and it was little Michael Jackson. As I moved over the abyss, Mike got caught, and he's wrestling with Jarl the Boss. In other words, he's wrestling with a new incarnation. There were people around this area as if they were waiting there for 1,000 years for some mythology to happen, for something to return. So I realized that this young Mike was the one to return. So they kept saying to me, give it to him. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? They kept saying, give it to him. So I gave him some light, and it turned into a sword. Now, this nigga turned into anybody who does candle magic, the Orisha shit, the Saints, St. Michael. There's St. Michael, and he's in the classic move where he stands above the devil with his sword pointed down. Mike turned into a man and was in all white in this image. Even in the dream, a lucid dream, and basically, if you didn't pick up on anything I said before, a lucid dream is basically you retaining your consciousness in the dream. So in other words, the same confidence that I have here with my intellect and my know-how, I still bring that in the dream world and can use that in my balance in the dream world. I still have that ammunition. So I'm sitting there going, I've seen this pose before. I said, shit, that's the St. Michael. Now, I said, he turned into St. Michael. All the shit we talked about on the radio, he heard his mythology and stepped right in it. St. Michael is also Diel, Michael, the angel, Archangel Michael, St. Michael are interchangeable. We even said that night. Interchangeable. Right. Golden white light, white beyond the standard white that we see, and his sword was his power. The next thing I seen, the people started rejoicing. He came up multicolored out of these steps. There's also a multicolored St. Michael candle as well. And I said, yo, because I felt responsible for him. After guiding him out of these dimensions, I felt responsible for him. So I asked him, is there anything you need? He said, I need for you to get out the way. And this nigga burnt up an entire, I guess, planet, world, dimension, Cyphera, a tree, however you want to name this reality within, this nigga tore this shit down. So in the spirit world, who gets these things first, he opened up a gateway, and a lot of these wood-chopping niggas stuck just got free based upon Mike. Now we the last ones to get these things. So when the earth ends, that's when it all comes to a head. But when it happens up there, it trickles its way down here, and people start to feel it in different ways based upon it being interpreted by this reality. Now I was getting also a lot of mail from a lot of conscious people with a different story of Michael transcending. So what that means is all these people who do deal with consciousness and do get some form of intuition and some form of channel got confirmation the way they interpreted it as Michael actually making it out, not getting stuck in the dimension. Now, if somebody just asked, is Earth ending to me? If you ain't figured that shit out, the Christians will tell you that Earth is ending. If you ain't figured out Earth is ending, then you need to go back to the drawing board. You know what I mean? Yes, this motherfucker's ending. If you ain't figured that shit out, women are throwing babies in dumpsters and going back to their prom. So what do you think? You know what I mean? What do you think? You know what I mean? Don't ask me nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? I see somebody in the chat room that did that. That's why I don't want to take questions on this. Not because I'm scared of no goddamn questions. It's because you're not supposed to be here. You're in the wrong place. You know what I mean? If nothing in your spirit tells you that this earth is ending. The greenhouse effect, nigga. You know what I mean? Enough of that, you know. So basically, Mike turned into this multicolored thing. The conscious people were getting reports all around the country that they were seeing different forms of Mike Transcending. Some in the beat it suit, some in the Billie Jean hat, some in the smooth criminal shit. You know what I'm saying? Some of the smooth criminal shit. So what it is the next thing, we were in a new world. We were in this new world, and Mike came to me as the kid again. So I was like, yo, what I seen in this world was fucking incredible. There's no words that could do the justice. There's nothing I can say, and that's where you're right, where the English language would be limited, but I suspect that the meta-neta would be limited too if I was speaking in that, or Latin would be limited for what you see in these worlds. The real problem is to interpret it because you don't feel the glory of these things. There's these brief moments you feel at the carnival, on the roller coaster, you know, getting some pussy, a good night's sleep, or taking a good dump. There's these moments of heaven that you get. So there's no way to explain it, but I was there and experienced it. Like I said, you can realize these things now. So I'm cursing, no, motherfucking this, that, the other, this, that, the other, this, that, the other. And then I started seeing mold come around the doorway. And I'm like, what's that? He said, well, if you curse, your house starts to mold. I'm like, all right, you know, now decode it. Because remember, they talk in symbols. Now, and also, when I was on this earth, all the people who seem to be the ones standing around in this place, waiting for this event to happen with Michael Jackson, they was on this new world, and all they were saying was, there are no more white people. They were in awe that there were no more white people. So decode it. What did that mean? What did those symbols that he showed me mean? Because these dreams are not actual things they're saying. White people absolutely mean nothing. If you get caught in that, you're still actually on a lower level. They are your oppressors in a human form, so you deal with the white people accordingly. Your human oppressors. In the spirit world, they have no power. So if we're getting off of this planet, what this represented for the person who just came out of this Holocaust, and white people have been the symbol of their Holocaust in this late time, the first thing they would need to realize to show that they are in a heaven or are in a better place is white people don't exist here. So is it actual white people? No. But these people who, because when I came to find out we are in the orientation planet, what these people were realizing or had to realize was that these white people didn't exist. And that's what that symbol was. Now, when I was saying cursing, curse is just a made-up shit. Fuck, you know, fornication under the king and so on. What he was talking about was cursed thoughts. Cursed thoughts. The cursed thoughts are basically the thoughts of you being a human. Your human mind or your brain or your intellect is the curse. It is you in hell. It is you. It is the scourge of the universe. The only true evil is human thought. So anything human, egotistical, are cursed thoughts. Cursed thoughts is what molds your house. Where we're going after this is living in your mind. The mind is all. So your thoughts reign supreme. Your thoughts are your heaven. Your thoughts are your greater reality. So this being the case, your cursed thoughts are what molds your house. So that was decoding what he was saying. Now, the next thing that was shown to me was these rooms. And all these rooms had nothing but people in it who just came from Earth. I went into a room by myself, and there was a woman in there. She was complaining. She was absolutely, utterly the textbook definition of crazy that we would say down here. And she was talking about her kids. One of her kids was retarded. They took her kids away. She doesn't have enough room in the house. All this human drama based upon her motherhood. So I'm telling her what I know. Like I said, in a lucid dream, I can tell her what I know. No, this is all illusion. Maya, you never was in Earth. You never was on Earth. Your light never was really here. Your soul was sleeping. You have no children in that sense. You're not responsible in that sense. You let nobody down in that sense. All the things we know as an occultist to be real seem to have no effect. Michael Jackson came in, little Michael Jackson, And he started explaining to her. The first thing he said is, here there is no such thing as money, and you get every single thing that you need. He said, how many kids do you have? She said, X amount. He said, if that's what you think you have, then you will have exactly what they need. She understood, and she was cured. Now, decoded. What did this mean? When I woke up, said, well, let me see what Mike was talking about here. What was he talking about? You have to decode the symbols. So I said, okay, I get it. What he was basically showing me was what I think I know about teaching is from the earth perspective. So me as a teacher, I would have to reformat if there's no more earth, and, most people think, it's the earth cycle ending. No, the earth is ending. This shit will go in a circle until we stop it. We are stopping it. We don't want to be in a place that could possibly turn into this again. So if this is a new cycle and we get our powers back, what are we going to do? Build another fucking pyramid? You get what I'm saying? So we don't even want to in Shangri-La of this thing here. You are in a dysfunctional state if it could possibly turn back into this. So if you clean up all the oil out the water, there's a chicken in every pot, and everybody could pick fruit off the trees, the mere fact that this shit could turn into this shit is enough to say, I don't want to be on this shit no more. So this thing will go into the circle of the zodiac until someone stops it. Guess what? We stopping it. That's what we're here to do. Ain't no more new cycles. They get earth cycles based upon people who are human. Remember, just go to your Bible. The meek inherit the earth. So if you plan on staying on earth, good luck, and let me know how the shit works out. You know what I'm saying? Light a candle to me, and maybe I'll come and tell you what kind of pussy party's going on over here while you down there plowing and shit. You know what I mean? So what he was telling me in this new world, that I would have to retrain the way I teach. In other words, these people are sick with human thoughts from the experience that they just went through. They are sick with human poisoning, if you will. And based upon this human poisoning, we have to basically train from that perspective as opposed to trying to show somebody that there's a greater reality. We now have to show people that what they thought was reality wasn't reality from the perspective of being in the reality, as opposed to trying to plead with motherfuckers that there's something beyond you when they scream, show, and prove all the time. So the teaching now has to change. So the way Mike showed up, he was like the teachers, Dr. Joe Pogram, Dr. Blair, Bobby, Phil, Black Dot, Rashad, all the brothers who came up, the twins, Dr. Sadie, Naeem, this one, and Akbar, the other one. Anyone, Brother Wayne, all these brothers would have to go under, in this particular orientation world, they would have to go under not a re-education, but a reformatting of what it is they do to start training people to go on to the greater reality of what they are, or back to the greater reality what they were. In other words, it's the end result of destroying human thoughts, snatching people out of these dimensions that are burnt up, and basically they're being prepared for everyone on earth to come through to this particular reality. So, and when he said the part about you get what you need, I was like, shit, well, get what you need. People would think heaven is, 36 bathrooms and, all the pussy you could stand and, 1,000 horses and whatever the mind, but that's what your human thought thinks it is. For instance, MC Hammer had a gold-plated Hammer Time gates, 2 gold-plated Hammer Time gates for the entrance of his property, 17-car garage, dishwasher in his bedroom for the purpose of cleaning up after a midnight stack, 2 helicopters, lease a Boeing 727, gold chains for 4 of his pet dogs. So this particular shit is textbook insanity. And you would say, well, that's heaven for a nigga. But in the world where we going for, that's nothing but human ego, and it's contrary to our reality of heaven. That's not what you're looking for in terms of what it is we value. What you're looking for is greater and greater light, greater and greater bliss. These things are just earth bliss. And even then, they're not even Earth Blitz because he lost all that shit, and he's doing 1-800 commercials. So even when you have this level of shit, the thing in your mind is what you need to do not to lose this level of shit. So it's not even a reality. So basically, when he was saying you get what you need and there's no money, what he was basically saying was these things are obsolete here, and overall, what we're doing is releasing you from your human sickness. So I understood then that this was a world of orientation for people who just got out the matrix. The teachers now take on a new role of getting you, for the ones who have come out this matrix, getting that humanity off their ass and now freeing people and sending them to their deeper reality or in their, putting them back into their right mind for them to create the heaven they want within what we now symbolize as the Sirius star system physically. So now, okay, so moving on, like I said, I go into detail when I write this. This is written up. It's in my blogs on myspace.com/pandemon. If you want to get the full impact, the full effect in the detail, because I go into very minute details on decoding it. And I also say in it, listen to the symbols that he showed me, and maybe you'll see more. So don't take my word for it. I am not your preacher. I'm not here to guide you and say this is what it is. I'm only reflecting the reality that I see based upon the work. You trust in that or you don't. I don't care. I'm not here to make you trust in that. Do your work and you let me know what happened. You know what I mean? Email, let me know what happened. So now the next thing I see is we're walking and I see my grandfather. My grandfather's on a pair of fucking skates and he's taunting me. But the taunting wasn't disturbing. It was the same way we rank or play the dozens that everybody knows it as. And no matter where you are in the USA, if there's a couple of niggas, we do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Ranking. Niggas call it, in Jersey, they used to call it hiking. And anyway, what Mike was showing me when he was taunting or ranking on me, taunting me with the skates, my grandfather, he said, stop him. And since I'm the magic guy, I knew what he was talking about. He was saying, stop him with your mind. So what I did was I focused and made his skates into ice skates. Nigga tripped, and then he turned it back into roller skates. Mike was like, good job. I was like, fuck that shit. It didn't work. Mike said, no. What you understand is this is the way you exercise your mind to create your reality. Now, if you remember, I told you about the movie Revolver. One of the lines in Revolver was the only way to get better and they were playing chess, is to play a greater opponent. So my grandfather represented that greater opponent. Not to mention he was a dark-ass magic nigga, and when the nigga died, I went to clean out his house with the same aunt that does the crystals, found a whole heap of Necronomicon shit up in his house. And took that shit. I even knew what it was. All that old Lovecraft writing and shit, and Lovecraft used to write in weird tales. I found a bunch of weird tales. And my father, who's not his son, his son-in-law, when I told my pops, my grandfather died, which is my mother's father, he said, shit, that nigga had one of the illest libraries on witchcraft I've ever seen out of print. I'm like, what? But I didn't know nothing about it back then. I would have snatched. I wasn't looking at all them books he had up there. I'd have snatched all that shit. This nigga was in the dream, and what based upon that line from Revolver, the only way to get better is to play a greater opponent. That's what he represents. So me playing the dozens with him was the calisthenics my mind needed in this particular orientation world. So after I get out of this hospital, if you will, understanding that I am no longer human, what do I do now? I need to build up the will of the mind, because where I'm going is to live in my own mind, my own world. I'm here to build my world. So first thing I learned was get rid of the cursed or human thoughts. Second thing I learned was you need to degouge yourself or disrobe yourself from the whole human sickness you've been in. The third thing I learned was you need to start building up the will of your mind to start creating the worlds that you plan on living in without the cursed thought or interjecting the human ego into it. You feel what I'm saying now, how this is unfolding as a revealing, Rich?
Yeah.
It's unfolding as a master revealing or a master understanding. So I don't know about you, but that's proof enough to me, because what I'm saying alone sounds intelligent enough. You know what I'm saying? That's like that's like somebody saying I ate roast beef and potatoes last night, and we gonna prove that shit. The answer, don't it sound good when I say it? You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, that shit was good. I'm like, I believe you, because that nigga, you get what I'm saying? Listen what I'm saying, and how does it sound like folly? It just makes so much sense what he's saying. You get what I'm saying? It makes so much sense. So by me playing these dozens, I was building up the will in my mind. And note this. Remember when Bobby Hemmett, this is what Bobby told me too. Remember when Bobby Hemmett said that the Beastie Boys, the ones that coined the phrase wacko jacko?
Right, yeah.
One of the Beastie Boys just came down with cancer 2 days after Michael Jackson died.
Damn, you're right. I didn't even think about that. God damn.
There you go.
God,
see,
you're right.
We don't kick ass. It's not here to kick ass humanly. You need to go where you kick ass, where your weapons of mass destruction is, nigga. That's what we've been trying to. We ain't gonna beat nobody up. We wacko jacko. Let's deal with it. This is where our power is. This is why it behooves you to get into this shit. If you want to be empowered, this is where you go. This is where your weapons are. This is where your weapons are. Please believe that shit. Now, after he made me understand this, basically you're on this world and you'll be playing the dozens nigga shit because you'll be just doing it with your mind. Y'all will be fighting with your mind. So if somebody do that to you, you're going to do that with your mind to counteract, and basically you build the strength of creating whatever reality you want in the system of being home, that true source of light you in. So now the fourth thing, we get to a river. And in this river, and I'm going to read this part because this part was the most profound part of what I think this thing was. And the last message that Mike gave me. So after I get rid of the cursed thoughts, which is human, get rid of my human ego or my guilt, that, this also comes into my yacht thing. You get eat by Amit if your heart isn't light as a feather. Well, Amit actually later on became karma or guilt. Karma, guilt, Amit. So when you sit and say these 42 negative confessions, this is what you realize. You realize, wait a minute, the true me that really needs to go through this gateway isn't human. It was on earth, my soul, and it was asleep. So it has never stolen. It has never robbed. It has never raped. It has never lied. It has never told these things. And when you realize you wasn't human, your heart becomes light as a feather because the guilt does not weigh on your heavy heart. What makes your heart heavy is you believing you are human and you wrong somebody somewhere. If you realize this is the illusion and you was never here, you don't get swallowed by Amit, which later became karma. So, or cursed thoughts is what Michael Jackson is talking about. So if you think you're a human and I got more work to do and I didn't never balance that out, you get swallowed by Amit. If you get to say, wait a minute, I ain't that nigga. I ain't never been on earth. I ain't never did that shit, motherfucker. Let me pass. You're only talking to yourself. Everyone's Osiris. Everyone's Isis. There's no man out there waiting to see what you did and what you did not do. It's you doing it with yourself. You saying, I got to be on earth based upon what you call karma these days. If you realize, and I've said this before, what's good to you may be bad to me. A crackhead in a room full of crack, that's good. A businessman in a room full of crack, that's bad. It's the same thing. Only your perception says it's good or evil. So if that's left upon your perception, then that means there's nothing called karma weighing against you. It's only your own mind saying I did bad. Your own mind saying I did good. We could go as far as say to the person who's not a rapist, a rape looks bad. To the rapist, he justifies that shit. He ain't got no problem with that. You think Jeffrey Dahmer had a problem with eating niggas? It's us who's saying that's bad and he got bad karma. He's saying stack that shit high and deep and somebody pass me hot sauce. His karma ain't got no problem with that shit. Or his what we define as karma. You feel what I'm saying? So cursed thoughts and ego is how you get swallowed back into a human body. So all of this shit ties in together, nigga. This is the show and prove. You can't, niggas study, nigga. That's the real shit. Niggas need to study. So now at the last part, which I thought was the most profound, he walked me to a river crossing with Marlon Wayans. Now, of all idiots,
Marlon Wayans.
Marlon Wayans is the nigga who dressed up in that white girl movie, The White Girls. The Damon Wayans and them brothers, the Wayans brothers from Living Color. Marlon Wayans is the little monkey one.
But now I'm gonna tell you, Panic. It's interesting that he showed you Marlon Wayans because Marlon Wayans is in the new movie Rise of the Cobra.
Right. The Kundalini. They put him in a few conscious movies where he always plays the coon. You know, I wonder what that's all about. You know, I'll see the movie. Actually, I would need to see the movie, see if it ties in. But you are right about I haven't seen him in a while, then all of a sudden he shows up in this major movie.
Yeah, because we ain't seen him in a long time.
See him in a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, besides what his brother does, you know, dance movie and the rest of that kind of shit. But he's, now mind you, he's been in a couple of serious movies. He was in that Merlin movie, and he was in the Sword movie. He was a coon and he was yelling, but there's one or two more where he stepped outside of that Wayne and shit and tried to actually get a serious role. You know, once he was a drug dealer, and I know I'm forgetting because he's a nigga I don't follow. But besides the shit he does with all the white girls and that little midget movie he just did, he tries to step out and gives you a certain amount of reality, but always ends up as comic relief in these movies. So they already showed him, they told him the suit is worth X amount of money. He said, really? Then he falls off the bus in the suit. So I'm like, he's already going to be doing some funny shit. But I think I wrote why or what the, like I said, I forget these things, but what it symbolized in the thing, and I'll read it. Now, it said, when Marlon Wayans came, he asked me for money to cross. So now I looked at Mike and said, motherfucker, you just got finished telling me there is no money here. Why is he asking for money when you just told the lady there is no money here? Mike didn't say anything like he wanted me to figure it out. So it took me a while to decode it. Then it became very clear that there are no real rules. Remember, you are a god. It's more of a system that he was trying to show me. If these things were unbreakable, then how did we become human in the first place? You get what I'm saying? If there was something that cannot be done. We're from a place where all possibilities can be done. So what we found out in our bounty of science is what not to do. And by us becoming human in the first place, it was nothing more than a study. It was never a forever thing. How much do you want to be here praying or kissing something else's ass while they living it up? That's not the case. We came down here to go through this whole Holocaust to bring this bounty of knowledge back to the Akashic records. So these guidelines, they said that shit all through the Pirates series. It was like the law. He said, it's not really a law, it's more like guidelines. Remember when they kept saying that shit in the movie? Yeah. So when the nigga asked for the money, I'm like, what the fuck? You just told me it wasn't. Basically, he was saying, no, it's not basically a rule. It's more like guidelines. If you're a god, what and who punishes you for these rules? So you could say the first nigga that fell into the ego, the Yaldabaoth and the like that fell, those are the ones that broke the rules out of ignorance, blah, 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 blah. When we came down to save them and raise the shit back up, what we came to do was redeem that through forms of knowledge. This is redeemed through knowledge. So we got to say at what a point we went through all these cycles, but what are we going through all these cycles for? Unless to get to a point where this thing is redeemed through knowledge. At what point do you just don't measure it on what you don't know, just measure it on the bounty of information that already is out there and exists. So motherfuckers want another earth cycle based upon them feeling their own ignorance or whatever. So basically they don't know, so they think we need more time on earth. You got to understand, the brother Lean just got finished lecturing and saying, it's not millions, we've been here for billions of years. Yeah. Billions of years. You got to understand this shit is a done deal, son. You know what I'm saying? Why would you want to get off of here? What is your... See, the ones who think we're going into another cycle of this shit is exactly what Michael Jackson was showing me. This is a human sickness. You are crazy with this humanity shit. You want to be down here stubbing your toe, having a hunt, seeing your kids die. Even in your best understanding of death, your kids could die. You want to be scared every day. You send your kid to school, some other little dirty kid ain't going to stab them. And that's just on regular shit, not to mention pay rent, work. You know what I'm saying? Pee, shit, doo-doo. You get what I'm saying? It's like the sickness. And what he was showing me with the woman was she was sick. And we don't call sick like having a cough. She was mentally ill with human poison. Ain't no more cycles than this. And if you want to be here for another cycle, that's insane. That's human sickness. That's why this shit is ending. That's why the earth is ending. It's heating up. They told you in 3rd grade, heat equals energy. And if we in the greenhouse effect and global warming, that's Kundalini. This shit is heating up. The earth is gaining energy only because the people are gaining energy. And this is the energy we need to skyrocket the fuck up out of here. That's what's happening now. So again, it was all about what he was telling me was there is no rule. There is no rule. The rule is you need to understand what it is these forms of thoughts and ego bring to you. You need to understand the end result of thinking this way. The end result of thinking this way is just where these niggas came from and the work you had to come down here to do to rescue motherfuckers. So I thought that was very profound, and that's when I woke up. So what you have here, to sum it up, is Michael Jackson, first and foremost, me bringing him to the spot where he needed to go in the astral world to make his transformation. What other people seen in the conscious community, and there were many, yes, it is valid. It's not mine over your word. What it is you were seeing different forms of the transformation, which only really needed to amount to you that he did make it out. So they got a lot of confirmations he's made it out. So he turned into his mythology based upon what we taught, or the eulogizing we did on the last Underground Railroad with you. That eulogy was the light he needed, the information he needed to understand his mythology and to live it out, to play it out. And he did at St. Michael in that position, and it was more than I can say how powerful it was. Real glorious shit. And basically what he spoke on was reiterating what it is you know as a teacher. We would have to update. And he also spoke on the cursed thoughts in your own mind, which is the human ego. He also spoke on relieving people of their humanity, and humanity, the true insanity, and so on and so forth. He also taught what it is you'll be doing to exercise yourself, and we've been doing it the whole time. It's called ranking. Or the same concept we'll be doing with our mind, and this exercise is the part of ourselves that stays sharp and be able to create the worlds you're going to. Then in the end, he told me, after all he taught me, this shit is not something that can't be broken. It's your responsibility to understand these things so you don't end up in the same situation. Or let me not say the same situation, because it'll never be another one of these again, into another situation where you're learning the hard way. So that was a master revealing from Michael Jackson. Like I said, I go harder in details in the blog. So, harder in details in the blog. So go in the blog and read, you know what I'm saying? Go in the blog and read, you know what I mean? So, and it will get more, you may get more out of it, or you may get exactly what you need to know. But you got to know, this is divine wisdom. It's not for you to believe me. It's for you to say, take what it's worth to you. That's why, it goes beyond, again, the show and improve. Take what it means to you. If it means nothing to you, you know what I'm saying, go study 1 to 10. Get what I'm saying? Go study 1 to 40 or whatever. Do whatever it is you do. Go back to your Bible. Go back to your Quran. Whatever. If that's what's working for you, that's exactly where you're supposed to be. And I'm not here to down it or say it's bad or whatever. That's where you're supposed to be. We all here to do what we came to do. You're not here to do what I came to do. And if you don't vibrate on that frequency, no, I'm not here to help you vibrate on the frequency. I'm talking to those on the frequency. They understand this to be reality, and not only do they understand this because I said so, they have something to add to this. You get what I'm saying? They have something to add to this. You get what I'm saying? It's not just them listening to me and waiting for me to say, now, you need to go do that. Nah, they have something to add. Half of them tell me what to go do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a conglomerate of motherfuckers who know what time it is, and then there's a whole heap of motherfuckers who can't figure it out. I'm always here to help you, but you know, I'm not your servant. I'm not your assistant to tell you or prove to you what it is you supposed to fucking realize.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
you know what's funny about you were dealing with frequencies. It's almost like we all don't live in the same world. It's almost like we live on frequencies. Instead of saying we live in the same world, we all live on different frequencies. And I'll give you an example. I was looking to learn how to play chess. So I walked by this park, and I seen an old man sitting in the park. So, you know, I got to talking to him and asked him about the game of chess. And I was like, Dad, man, you never been out here. When you started coming out here? He said, young man, I've been out here every day for 10 years. You just never was on my frequency to notice me.
Right.
I said, Dad, it's almost like people could be invisible. Everything is invisible until you get on that frequency. That out of nowhere, you just notice it. You know, it's like it doesn't even exist in your world unless you're on that frequency. So
I know what you mean, Rich. You hear one thing and, like, you see it all over now. Well, two things. That's the laws of attraction. Remember, you say, well, you know, how could I make this reality and that reality? You know, you say laws of attraction. You know, they're killing our kids. How could you make this and that another reality? Well, that same thing that you just described is basically how the laws of attraction work. You're magnetizing the frequencies. So yeah, you will still know they're killing kids. That's not dumb. But you could say on the other side, you will see a whole bunch of kids doing magnificent things going to the next level. You feel what I'm saying? So you will start to see other kids. You're like, this motherfucker reading that. You'll see a kid reading the ISIS papers, if you will. You'll see more of that than you see a nigga walking around with his pants hanging off his ass. It's what you choose to see, not in the context of you putting down a blind eye, but this is your reality. You're making it. So when you choose to see that old man who's been there 10 years, you see the frequency. He comes right out the ethers. Straight up laws of attraction. Now, why are there different frequencies? Because our thought in humanity created all these frequencies, which created all these dimensions. The original 10-cipher tree of life are basic archetype dimensions. You know, mercy, you know, that warship at Mars, and, you know, the sun, the moon, you know, justice, and the rest of the shit are template, but then they'll say each cipher has a malkuf. With all these are just sub-dimensions. So if they have a malkuf, that means there's a certain amount of, let's just say 10 other ciphers on just one other cipher, Chashard, and then all of that's got to be a malkuf. And then all of those have malkufs. So you're just going on and on and on and on forever with frequencies of thoughts. So that means when you die, these are all just dimensions you go on based upon your frequency of thought here on Earth. So arguing and debating is folly because you're only arguing about two different frequencies of reality. And no one's trying to beat each other on each other's frequency. They're trying to prove each other's frequency is real. And guess what? You both are right. All frequencies.
Wow. There you go.
Right. All frequencies are real. It's just the frequency you on.
There you go.
It's the frequency you on.
That's what I've been waiting to hear. There you go. Oh, yeah. You 100%. There you go.
And they say it on a mundane level, but I thought everybody's supposed to matter. All of us matter, and all of us work, and all of us are doing something. In the context, you could say because the frequency you on, you are studying that frequency and living that frequency. It'd be folly for you to get the next man to live on it. So in other words, it would be folly for me to stand out there and try to prove to somebody my frequency. Only thing I could do is explain it, and if you're vibrating with it, you get it. You get it. And you said some things to me, or you get to say, fuck Brother Panic. He ain't really saying shit. Nigga don't know what he talking about. You get to say it. I don't give a rat's ass, nigga. I said what I said. That's the frequency here. You know what I'm saying? That's the frequency here. You get what I'm saying? You either feeling it or you not. You pulling it down from the ethers. It's something that is based upon the laws of attraction, whatever frequency you on, when you're trying to expand it to the next level, then someone, damn, Brother Panic, I just happened to come across your page. Or, damn, brother, you never seen me playing chess, but I've been here for 10 years. because you're expanding. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
You expand. So, I mean, you could say what's lower frequency, what's higher frequency. We could define that all day. If anything, we could argue about that would be the argument. That's lower and higher frequency. But it's all valid. If you live in it and you live your life, I said this before. I can say the fire hydrant's green. You can say it's red. Who's right? I live my life accordingly. It's green to me. I'm going to act like it's green. So I'm right.
Right.
Most people are red based upon the status quo. Everybody else said the fire truck, the fire hydrant is red. In the end, if you prove to me that it's red, what did you really win? What did you accomplish here?
Right. I think that's important. We definitely have to come to an understanding of that in this conscious community, that two brothers, and I want to say this again, two brothers can say completely different things, but they both can be right. Everybody does not have to agree. Just because Phil said this and Bobby said the opposite, it doesn't mean Phil was right and Bobby was wrong, or Bobby was right and Phil was wrong. This is the complex reality we in. Both these brothers could be right and say different things. For some reason, we're not getting that, you know? So I'm glad you said that today. I'm very glad you said that.
It's not about Phil's wrong and this one's right. It's like you should be at a point where you don't give a fuck. Just say and talk to your people of your frequency. If you come up as a teacher within that frequency, talk to your people. What the fuck you talking to my people for? Telling them, not my people like my flock, my frequency of thought. Let's just say that. Or the frequency of thought you feel I represent. Let's just say that. Because the motherfuckers I deal with are badass. They don't need me to tell them nothing. They share and they come up with their own shit. But these people find that, no, they don't. These motherfuckers are my inspiration. Half these niggas keep me grounded in this shit. So, no, it's a frequency of thought. So there's no reason for me to spend my life shooting down who it is you are or what it is you do. If you come to me, I need to be true to what I'm dealing with and say, well, I wouldn't deal with that based upon this, that, the other. That's the lesson. Should I knock you down? Should I cheerlead that to you all day? No. You ask based on the laws of attraction. You ask, and that's the answer. Half these niggas is coming at you. I ain't asked you shit, nigga. Get what I'm saying? Fuck the Father Allah. You know what I'm saying? Straight out.
Right.
Straight out. And what he told me was, what they started to introduce was adding numbers to goddamn to words, which was fundamental principles in Kabbalah, gematria, and numerology. That was supposed to transfer. So show and prove on that shit and pick up a book on Kabbalah. Pick up a book on gematria, because that was the intention for people who just were still eating pork to get you off the pig, at least, and start teaching you concepts, and this is from Father Allah, concepts that go greater than just you running your mouth and you say, so these numbers and words and this whole entire connection, you put it in. And when you find all that shit's in Kabbalah, the 22 letters of Kabbalah. And, you know, in gematria and all this kind of shit. Certain words that come together that unity and love is the same numerical value, so therefore means the same thing, and Messiah and snake is the same numerical value, so you could deduct it means the same thing. This was the same kind of shit that was going on in the lessons. So it was for you to join in with, or at least a way to introduce you to start your path on this shit. You get what I'm saying? Start your path. So all of this shit is supposed to lead to more and more light. I'm constantly trying to absorb all frequencies, go through it, learn it, put it all in its proper perspective. Everything niggas is arguing, it has a perspective. I'm just trying to look at the bigger picture. You get what I'm saying? So all I have to say, you know, this for the occultist is folly. You know what I mean? For the occultist is folly. You know, let me prove to you why my shit is really the best shit. You know what I'm saying? My shit is really best shit. And yeah, I don't give a fuck what nobody says about me, but still, I also don't give a fuck how stupid you are neither. You can be stupid as the day is long. You know what I mean? That's on you. You know, that's on you. I don't care what motherfuckers say. You know what I mean? That's folly. The shit I'm talking about is the realization. You even said it one time. You said, I do recognize. You said it at your table. You said, it feels, and you said other names, but I'll just keep it to me. You said, I can really see that you kind of experiencing this kind of shit. I'm like, yeah, and you got to experience it. Niggas could tell you what it feels like on a roller coaster, but how do you prove it? Well, brother, pay your ticket and get on the roller coaster. Not only you may realize what I realized, but you may realize another thing. So you need to do what you need to do. That's the real proof or the real understanding into this shit. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So Brother Malcolm said debates and this and that and arguments is healthy and all that. Well, if I'm not even gonna argue with that. If that's your frequency and your reality, so be it. So be it. I have power behind you. That's where you at with it. You ask me a question, I can only manifest based upon my study.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we got 4 minutes. We got 4 minutes left, Brother Panic. Woo, you surely winning this show, brother. I mean, you surely winning, brother.
I'm never sure how these things come out, but is your site back up, Rich?
It should in a couple. I'm having somebody work on it right now. I mentioned that at the beginning of the show, but in a couple of days it should be up and running normal. So that's that. You want to try to squeeze in one caller? We got 3 minutes, or you want to just round it up?
What we figured out lately was no callers. They'll start asking me about their grandmother, and that ain't got nothing to do with the show. We just came to the realization. Wait a minute. Whoever said callers are supposed to be on this motherfucker? You know what I mean? Normal. We dealt with our subject. They could go read on it, and if they have questions. Like I said, valid questions about it, hit me on MySpace. Don't get mad if I don't answer. In time, you got to remember there's a whole America that hears it, in fact, abroad. I see 2 people in the room that are from London. So everybody's asking questions. Try to make it valid to the point, and maybe I'll answer or can point you to other shows, books, or again, this whole thing we talked about with Michael Jackson, it's already written up and it's in more detail. It's on my MySpace, myspace.com/pandemon, PANDEMON. Go read and see what you see. If you don't care, who cares? You know what I mean? Go, I would say just do what you need to do, study. Remember the point I said, you should be studying everything that takes you beyond the intellect. So in your intellectual pursuit, study things that help you go beyond your intellect. To realize something that you don't realize every day on earth. To have the same realization that someone already gave you on earth is not making progress. That's church, and that's only cheerleading things you already know. I would say as a scientist, try to figure out things you don't know. Try to go beyond these things. And this shit has been laid out thoroughly by all of these teachers. Like I said, and again, study everything. One teacher is not wrong, and the other, you said this, but he said that. Get that off your mind. He said it. See what that person who taught you something, see what it means to you. If it does not mean nothing to you, you don't have to shoot it down. Just say, it's not my frequency. Mm-hmm. You don't have to destroy it, shoot it down. That nigga said this, that nigga said the other. So just say, that's not for me. That teacher's not for me. And this is based because probably on another lifetime you went through that study. So your spirit is telling you, you don't need that. You've been through that already.
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? So, and that may be a particular work. If we still here, especially us gods who are conscious, if we are still here, that means we are here getting the scraps. I was on the Sister Blues show, and I'm also doing her show again this Sunday. We're going to deal with the Orishas and the final destination, and this is a story that the Orishas finally said I could tell, something that happened in 2007. And we're going to do a book. We were going to do a question and answer. But what we changed it, I'm going to do a whole show just giving out books. 2 hours of nothing but books. So when you get to ask me a question, I get to go listen to that show and pick the book accordingly. And I'll go into a bit of detail about each book and what it does. So the question and answers are washed up. We're going to do a whole show about books, starting with the Orishas this Sunday. This Sunday on Mrs. Blue's show. And it's going to be a smash, and she's a real cool sister, and she also blasted out this show, to her viewers, her listeners, so they can come hear this show on your channel as well. So she came through with much love.
All right, that's about a wrap. We got about 15 seconds left. Signing out with Brother Panic, this Brother Rich. Brother Panic will be back soon. Just keep an eye out. You'll get the email shortly. Peace, y'all.
Peace.